It's a jam, right?
All day.
We're just gonna wait on people to chime in. What's going on, everybody? It's hump day. Stevie said he'll be loving us always.
Always.
I love. Let us know that you're here. Who was that? Rod. It is a classic. He makes all the classics. I just had to play it. Start off the day. Happy hump day. Stevie Wonder. Happy birthday. Just, something about Stevie to just put you in a mood. It's true love asks for nothing. I don't know what the fuck I do. I think I asked for too much, Stevie. You don't know if it's true love. Let us know that you're here. I see people popping in. We're going to get started with our topic. We're going to be talking about child-free women with my sister in spirit and soul, Tazima Paris. And as Stevie says, I'll be loving you always. Oh, such a classic. I'm hyped now. Like, Stevie, thank you for your blessings. I'll be loving you always. All right. Woo!
Oh, I can't even tell you how many times I've been on the dance floor with that song, losing it.
That song right there. Gonna have me go back and watch The Best Man.
Indeed.
Such a classic, such a classic. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me this afternoon with my sister, Tazima Paris, as we are both sexologists and educators and practitioners. And so we are excited to be here today. And I called my sister Tazima after Mother's Day. And I was thinking, as we are child-free women, I was like, there is no discussion about child-free women. There is no celebration for child-free women. And, I was wondering, where's our National Child-Free Day? Celebrate me for taking the spiritual journey to assess what I needed in my life and make such a grand decision. Mm-hmm. And so, I really felt like this is something that we should talk about. I have a number of child-free and childless sisters in my sister circle, and it's very important to us. And at the same time, it can be sort of isolating. Away from society, there's such a stigma on child-free women. And so I wanted to talk about that stigma. I wanted to address it. I, wanted to talk about, why so many women choose to be child-free, why that is their choice to have, some of the conflicts that they go through. So, we have so much to pull out today. What are your thoughts, Tazima?
So first, I want us to highlight for a moment the difference between child-free and childless.
Yes.
And child-free is a choice. Childless is like more of a condition of what's happening. And I go personally, I'll reveal that I'm somewhat ambivalent about whether I'm child-free or childless. Some days I'm childless. Sometimes I'm child-free. Sometimes I'm like, I made these awesome choices in my life that led me to a life that does not include children. And if I would have had children, I would not have been able to make some of the choices or done some of the things in the way that I did them had I needed to consider a small person or a young person in my life that, was birthed from my body. the other piece that really is at the top of what I've been dealing with around having children or not having children is the automatic interjection that, oh, well, if you're not a mother, you can mother. Like, wait a second, how do you know what I want for me in my life? Like, it's this interjection or kind of assumption that I need mothering in my life in order to be a woman. Like I need like some kind of, like I need to create some mothering experience. That's not necessarily a requirement of my life. And we don't have a conversation in the same way about fathering.
No.
Like they're two different conversations. It's mothering and blank. I mean, the only thing that we really talk about with any sort of emotion behind men and fathering is whether they're a deadbeat dad, or whether they're showing up, whether they're showing fathering properly, the representation they have for all men and all, there's a conversation there, but there's not that pressure of you need to show up as a mother in some capacity in your life. There's not that imperative, like the motherhood imperative that women, there's not an equivalent.
You bring up a good point, because I was just thinking that, as I go through the day, and so many people say, well, happy Mother's Day. And that's a beautiful thing, but I did not take on that labor. And as much, and being child-free does not mean anti-child. That's first and foremost that we need to bring up, because there's this notion that because you're child-free that you're anti-child. I love all the little buggers.
Love them
in my life, right? That have transitioned in and out of my life, that are in my circle, the God babies, the play God babies, the baby cousins, the children that I work with at schools. I love all of them. And then at the other time, I'm allergic to them too, because people say, oh, you don't have kids. I'm like, no, I'm allergic. That's, I'm being cheeky, but that's not my thing. But nobody goes around and says Happy Father's Day to men who are not fathers. And like, oh, well, you're a father to someone. You're a fur mother for fur babies or something. Like, nobody forces fatherhood on men the way that it is applied to women. And I just had to pull back and think about that. So I even thought about some of the things that people say, and I'm going to say this so that moving forward, I'm hoping people will take this in kind and take this into consideration, that child-free individuals are sensitive as well. And we have sensitivities, and that, we have to watch the marginalization that is built around child-free adults, particularly women. So you'll be a great mom. Well, I didn't say that I wouldn't be. That you don't know if that was a doubt that I had about my choices.
Right.
But they'll say, you'll be a great mom, or you're selfish. That's another one. Women were made to be mothers. And then when we think about women who are childless, who do not have the opportunity, infertility challenges. There are a multitude of reasons why people choose to be child-free, or people have unfortunately selected being childless at that time. That people really aren't taken into consideration. What's another one? You don't know what you're missing. Actually, I do. I'm pretty sure of it. I only had about 700 kids rotating. I know.
Yeah. I'm clear.
That's why I'm child free.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, I FaceTime with my brother and his 4 children who live with him. Okay. He's got 5 total, but the 4 that live with him, whoa.
Yeah, see, we know.
FaceTime.
We know.
I know what I'm missing.
Well, you know, you're gonna change your mind. That one. I'm like, I'm going on 45.
Yeah.
You don't think that I've made my own personal choices? You don't think I'm aware that I have the strength, the understanding that this is actually a profound and important choice for me. But I'm gonna change my mind. This one it's not too late.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It was too late when I made the decision for myself to not have children.
And this, I think, all of these pieces undermine, all of these suggestions or assertions undermine the agency of the woman to choose. It's like, no, wait a second. I get to choose what I choose for my life. I was reflecting after we talked about all the women who in my life. I actually have a significant number. Most of my close friends do not have children. And there are 2 women in my close friend group, one who had a child, I think the child is about 15. The other one literally just went through fertility treatments and had her babies. She got twins. And then the rest of my friends do not have children. And we've all done things in our lives that have created that for whatever reason.
Right.
Some people it's been relationship. Some people are like similar to you. I'm allergic to kids. None of my own. Thank you very much. And then, you know, in my world, I had two miscarriages, which is a whole other conversation, which I'm not going to open up right now. But by telling me I should be a mother reopens the hurt for me, and people have no idea. You know, I don't talk about it on a regular basis.
I mean, there are reasons of financial insecurity.
Yeah.
Family relationships. You know, what if you had such a traumatic childhood that co-opted your decision for being child-free? Your personal capacity. Some people don't think about people's personal capacity. Where are they in life that child fits into their life? Or geography, where they live even, you know, maybe some racist ass area where your child will be the only Black baby in that community may not be a place for you to want to have that child. Maybe you don't have a compatible co-parent. Maybe there's fear, anxiety, uncertainty. Maybe you don't have maternal instincts. Every woman is not born with maternal instincts. This assumption that every woman is automatically, innately maternal is a falsehood that we as a society still refuse to grapple with.
Yeah.
Ageism, you know, people telling you you're not too old when after 33, you're considered a geriatric pregnancy. Like, that age is a real factor for the body. Health challenges, hereditary diseases, or simply that you just don't want to. It's amazing what women go through to, as you say, have the agency to just simply say, I don't want to. I don't want to have sex today. I don't want to have a baby tomorrow. I don't want to. And yet, for us to say no as women, it is such a challenge.
Indeed. And saying no, you know, I really love in my coaching practice, this is something, especially when negotiating choices inside of relationship, negotiating desires inside a relationship. I often share with my clients that if you don't have a no, your yes doesn't mean shit. If you don't have a clean, strong no, your yes doesn't mean shit because you haven't actually said no. And similarly, in this motherhood conversation, if you don't have a no, are you even actually choosing? Or are you on this track of expectation? And then that opens up into how many places in your life are you going through the motions, making choices according to what you're supposed to do versus what is really an agency-based conversation.
I agree. And I know so many women who certainly love their children, have made, beyond sacrifices for their children. And yet it is very clear if they had the opportunity to make a different decision previously,
yeah,
they would make that decision to be child free. And yet if they say that out loud to society, if they say that out loud in the real world, it is brutal for them.
Yeah.
To not be able to acknowledge, what your inner self is really saying, to not be able to acknowledge, like, I wish I was able to do some of these things. So I wish I had the opportunity to wait before I became a mother. And we hear fathers say, I've heard fathers say it, and it's like, yeah, I get that. But if a mother says it,
right,
she is a bad mother. That is a selfish thing to say. And the judgment that society and the weight that society puts on women to be mothers is so challenging. And Lisa's co-signing. She's saying the judgment.
Yeah.
I have Bert saying women today get peer pressure from family, friends, and random men. Yes, the randomness of strangers telling you what you should do with your vulva. Get out of my vulva. Like, you don't have any personal information about me. And even families, though, sometimes, our families think they know us, and there are some things and experiences we have not shared with our families. And they insist on putting that weight and that judgment down on you. And then, what do you do about it, Tazima? What do you think as child-free mothers that we can do, one, for self-care, and two, as a response to the outward world trying to, encroach upon our innermost feelings about, one of the biggest decisions you can make in your life?
Yeah, I want to highlight that you can't return a child. Like, there's no, I don't want to be a mom. And like, once it's a lifetime commitment. This is not a light choice. It's not a light responsibility. It's not like buying a car where, yeah, it's a major purchase. This is very different. This is a life you're talking about. And I feel deeply that because so much of our lives in general are secretive, people don't really show what's actually going on in their lives. We're really working with the highlight reels of people's lives. People are pissed off right now that Zoom can see into your life. People are on, they got to create this one corner of the house that looks good, and the rest is, trashed because family is at home 24/7. And so that secrecy that we have on our relationship or on our lives, we only show like this very small window. There's a lot more to raising a family, raising a child, raising multiple children, having a relationship than we're willing to talk about. So one, as far as self-care and awareness and what can be done as a child-free woman or childless woman is get in touch with what's going on for you. Get clear what's yours and what's theirs. Because there's some stuff that's theirs.
Right.
My mom
That part.
My
Right.
mom has been extremely insistent. She's backed off recently.
Look,
but
I'm a drink to that. That's yours. Don't belong to me.
It's not mine. Okay. So get clear. And this is, by this way, this is hard. And this is where professionals like myself and Frenchie come in, or therapists or whatever. And if you've had some trauma, please see a specialist that deals with the trauma around whatever.
Right.
Even, when many women have had abortions that have made childbearing complex, or there's other emotional stuff connected. Go get some help, get professional help. Do not talk to your girlfriends unless your girlfriend is a professional. And if she is, or he is, pay them. Okay. Because this is something that is valuable. This is not, let me get on the phone and chit chat about this. That's not the self-care you need. If you've had something going on, get some support around that. That is critical.
I think you bring up a really good point, especially about women who have made who were pregnant and made the decision still to be child-free, and what a colossal decision that was that they needed to make for themselves, and to tune out the world, and to tune out what the world says, and to actually just listen to yourself, and not having support and therapy and counseling post that. Because there are still people who are enjoying being child-free, but still guilted and feel guilty about their decision.
Yeah. And guilt is really someone else's standard in your world. I don't care what the guilt is about.
Come on.
Guilt is based on someone else's standard in your life, period.
Yes.
There's no one living your life except you. Unless you have given them the steering wheel. And then they can drive you to guilt all day long. Okay.
Well, let me tell you, too many women have given up the car. Right?
Yeah.
They have decided to become passengers in their own life.
Yeah.
And that's why I felt like this conversation was so important, because we don't get to have this conversation about somebody else trying to grab your steering wheel and make decisions for you. It's not too late. You're not too old. You're selfish. You'll change your mind.
Janet Jackson had a baby at 50.
Right. Janet Jackson is a billionaire. She can have all the damn babies she wants.
She can do whatever she wants.
Yeah. You don't know what IVF does to a woman. You have no idea what it costs to actually freeze those eggs. Like, you're not in that space, Exactly. You'll make pretty babies, or well, let me go just have some kids because they gonna be cute.
No, cute is like the most minuscule aspect of child rearing. That's a real person. It's a real person. Like, this is not just
a real world decision that can't be based on how that child might look.
Right.
You don't have those guarantees, okay?
Yeah.
Or they're gonna take care of you when you get old. Who's gonna take care of you? Listen, I'm sorry to say, but I've been taking care of elders who have kids who do not take care of them.
How about that? Not a guarantee.
No.
And I think some of it is that we have this perception that certain results are guaranteed. So, for example, it's going to be easy to get pregnant. I know personally, I was very biased. My opinion about how easy or hard it was to get pregnant, my opinion was definitely skewed by the people in my life who had teenage pregnancies. Teenage pregnancy makes it seem like it's easy to get pregnant.
Them little fertile darlings had you fooled.
Right. But when you're not a teenager and you're not in your, fertility prime, it's not necessarily an easy or joyful experience. It can be extremely stressful, which can then diminish the possibility. So even that frustration of trying to get pregnant can switch someone from being childless to child-free. Like, fuck it.
You know, I something else I think about when people come with judgment as opposed to questions. And
Yes.
I don't mind if you come with questions, or better yet, not come with them at all, because nobody really asks people why they're having babies,
Yeah.
but they ask you why you're not.
Right.
And so, you know, what does infertility look like?
Right.
What does childhood trauma look like? I don't maybe look like I'm infertile. I don't maybe look like I've experienced childhood trauma.
Yeah.
I don't look like I have a hereditary disease like breast cancer in my family, of which I do. So you don't know what you're looking at
Right.
when you make these judgments.
Yeah.
And that is a dangerous thing to do. And for so long, child free women and childless women have had to bear the grunt of these judgments and these questions unfairly. And then, you know, they are re triggered, particularly around Mother's Day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's there, you know, we're becoming as a society more sensitive about various conditions. You know, people are learning about, you know, non-binary, using they and their, you know, it's a new awareness. And this motherhood thing is so old, and so, especially with, you know, cisgender women who, you know, present or look like they are uh, straight, heterosexual, there tends to be this assumption that you're going to follow the script. You're going to have a relationship, get married, which, by the way, is supposed to be the best way to do it. You're going to marry a man. You're going to want to create 2.5 children and live in a house in the suburbs. That's not necessarily true. These scripts that we have are what's not being discussed. Instead of assuming and creating this script that of what's supposed to happen, let's get curious about what that person wants to do, and how can we support that person, that woman, to do what she's up to. How do you know that, like, you're that question that you assumed, like, well, how come you're not having children? What's next for you in your life? How can I support you with what you're creating next for you? It sounds like you have something that you're planning, or it looks like you're doing something. What is that thing? How about that? Ask about what I am doing in my life, rather than what you think I should be doing based on your assumption of my subscription to scripts. Like, how about let's shift it up?
Well, even speaking of scripts, though, how about we not just bring up our daughters under the assumption that they're going to be mothers?
Yeah.
How about we allow them to live in a space and in their own universe where they have agency over their own bodies, and they go out into the world and explore, and then make valid decisions based on their experiences and what they really need for them. And there is also a fear of what will happen to this world if everyone's not making babies. This, you know, humanities and humans are going to fall off the face of the earth, just because I don't donate my vulva and my child to you. And this is an absurdity. But there is this notion that, you know, we have to procreate, and we have to you know, expand the world. You know, we got to make soldiers, and who's going to be the
No,
next Malcolm X. And
those
like,
ideas were created when post, like, war, and post what do you call them, plagues and shit. These are
right.
not principles that came in our generation, not even our grandparents, not even our great grandparents. This is literally at the beginning of the inception of Christianity, when it was codified as a religion. These go forth and multiply. That's really where you're getting that from. It's not really even in our last few decades or generations, however you want to count it. It's not even us. It's our society that showed up to repopulate after some fucked up tragedy shit. I promise you. the human race is
after the
not.
corona, so we can expect some babies after the corona.
Even after corona, we are not in danger of going
corona that came in, we're gonna have babies. Leave us alone.
We have repopulated the earth successfully. It's 7 billion. Even if we took out 1 billion right now, okay? Like, even if corona takes out 1 billion, we're still good, people. Like, we're still good.
We're still good. There can still be another Malcolm X, another MLK. Like, you know, the narrative of why we should have babies.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. And like you said, you know, the guilt is theirs. You know, if I did have a child, I wouldn't want that child to be Malcolm X or Martin Luther King or any of those people. I would really want that child to be their own self and have the same agency that I have been afforded as well. And it's interesting because everyone says, but it's a compliment. It's a compliment. And I'm like, to whom is that a compliment? And I shift on where I feel about someone encouraging me to be a mother as a compliment. And I know there's no ill will or malicious intent. And so I receive that. But at the same time, I also have to check your privilege. And I also, you know, need you to understand that I need you to respect and celebrate my decisions. This is my decision, that when you say, you know, but we need you for this. And I'm saying, no, that's not where I intend to be.
Yeah.
But I can still make great use of myself, my work, my spirit in this other space. Like, there are enough kids out here for me to support, to mentor, to hug on, to kiss on. There are plenty. The adoption agencies are full. Hello. Like,
yeah.
I don't need to have another
baby.
Not
to mention exhausted mothers.
Here.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Not to mention exhausted mothers. Because if I were one of the exhausted mothers, I wouldn't be able to necessarily serve in that capacity to support an exhausted mother, for example. And that's just one of the examples. If it, you know, it's not, for me, it's not an either or.
Yes.
There's a choice that I made in my life to be available for my life first. And there's an opportunity for me to serve and support others in a way that I wouldn't be able to, or wouldn't have a capacity or time if I had kids. It would create a different way of being. So it's not an either or. It's not better than. It's different, and the difference can be respected if we let it be. And I think one way to get to that is by curiosity. What are you up to?
So I think that one of our viewers, Lisa, brings up a good point, and she talked about an experience where someone told her, you never know who's going to bear the next king or Christ. Lord Jesus, be a brain cell. Hold on. Okay. is that, and even with our healthcare professionals, you know, I've had to change gynecologists for them trying to say, you know, you got to hurry up and have a baby. Like, this, for you to insert your values into my hospital visit but it happens all the time.
All the time.
Where doctors and nurses even are encouraging women, you know, to hurry up and have children without any consideration of my choices, my experiences, my trauma, or any of these things, or just my desires, my ambitions and goals in life. You didn't consider any of that.
Yeah. And I want to highlight that women who choose not to have children, they're not we're not suggesting that it's a rule that women who don't want to have children had trauma. that they don't want to have. Like, that's not the point here. The point is really, what are we creating in our lives, and the agency to choose that. Like, what, that is all that we're talking about here, more so than, well, it's because of this extraneous circumstance that I decided not to have a kid. That's not even the point here. The point is that a woman has a choice. No one's making you get a specific model of car if you live in a specific neighborhood, if you just happen to be of a certain gender or a certain ethnic background, that you need to buy this car or you need to eat only this food. No, people aren't making suggestions like that. People do suggest being vegan, which is not necessarily good for everyone. But that's a similar, people can understand someone trying to impose their dietary issues or dietary preferences onto another person. Okay. You can understand that. This is very similar to that. You inserting your opinion on someone's motherhood choice is very similar to imposing your dietary choices. It's a personal choice. It's a lifestyle choice. It's a choice. That's not someone who's making a suggestion. It's the person who's living the life.
Like you said, when you allow society, family, and the outside world to steer your personal agency, to steer your personal choices, you can't enjoy the decision of either being a mother or being child free.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to enjoy that when you're in the echo chamber of the world and you haven't taken the time to close them out and actually hone in on the choices that you want to make for yourself. And it takes bravery on either side of the equation. It's bravery to choose to be a parent. It is bravery to choose to be child free. And to see it as less than is not acceptable.
Definitely.
That's where we are. So, as we close out, we're not going to keep the people, but I'm still going to say we need our National Child Free Day.
That would be lovely.
Again, I am not anti-child, but I am pro me. I'm just pro me.
Yeah.
And I so enjoy it. I'm so proud of it.
Yeah.
I dance in it. I'm not required to get up in the middle, and I'm not required to have the anxiety of worried about your child at every endless moment in life. It's freedom.
Yeah.
It is freedom for me.
And for me, it gives me the capacity to do more in my world, or to not do more in my world. Like that's the other piece is like, if I'm not a mother, you have to be doing what Oprah is doing. Like, no, I actually don't have to do what Oprah's doing if I don't have a child. And people have fortunately now gotten off of, well, Oprah missed her opportunity to have a child. Like, you don't know what any of her life. I mean, some of it because she shared it, but you don't know. And you don't have to redeem yourself for not being a mother. Like, there's no need for redemption. The only thing that's needed is for you to create the life that you want to create, the life that you desire to create. And quite frankly, someone without a child who has chosen that for themselves has more freedom to choose those things. If they want to, choose whatever.
And it's just really important for others to not be tone deaf to other people's choices. Right. So I'm asking, as a child-free woman, that you not be tone deaf to my decisions, for my body, for my personal reasons that are not any of your that's not any of your business. It's mine. It's mine to own. I'm good with it. Don't be tone deaf to my choices.
Exactly. Exactly. Be sensitive, be curious, be connected, connect with these women.
And don't be judgmental. And it does require a lot of sensitivity and a lot of empathy that I just have not seen. And that's why I felt like, I was like, like I have never seen this conversation come up. And amongst my child-free friends, we could talk about it all the time. And I always with my girlfriends, I say, happy you're not a Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. We say, yeah, girl, what you drinking? What you got? and it's really great and it's really beautiful. And I just really want to acknowledge those who have chosen and selected to be child-free or who are managing being childless for women and men. But I just know that it is just a different struggle, particularly for women. There is a patriarchy that is wrapped around, our existence, that we have to unravel every day.
Yep.
And so, sometimes when I feel wrapped in it, it's just like, get off me. So, I am encouraging women who are struggling, who are battling, who feel traumatized, who feel angst about being child-free, that there's a celebration in your choices and your personal agency. There's a celebration in that, and I honor you. And Tazima, what would you say?
I would say keep owning. And by the way, it's a consistent journey. Every day is a little bit different on this journey of whether you're child-free or childless. It's our job to really pay attention and keep with the changes. Keep with what's happening for you today. Sunday was, I was laughing and crying with literally both extremes, not laugh crying. I was laughing and crying about Mother's Day with my husband, sharing with him like how hard it was in my current circumstances. And then the Monday after was slightly different. It wasn't that it was, I'm better now. And that wasn't my goal. It was just, hey, it's different today. I expressed some things. I got some stuff out. And today, here's what it is. And even today, a few days after now, it's a little bit different. And the only thing that I really recommend is to stay with yourself. Stay with what's current now. What am I wanting now? That same curiosity that I was asking from other people with child-free women, I ask of child-free women themselves. What is it that you're wanting right now? What is it that is current for you right now? What needs to be expressed right now? What are you grieving right now? We all have stuff to grieve. Hello. Right. What are you celebrating right now? And not make that celebration take over from the grief, because the grief needs its own space too. The celebration needs its own space. The blah, I'm bored needs its own space. Like, let's just honor what's happening for us in the moment, not necessarily trying to.
Because I also think about, particularly women who have estranged relationships with their own mothers. And therefore, there has to be a very difficult decision about what motherhood could look like for them.
Yeah.
And, we forget that women, we haven't even had a conversation about toxic mothers. Because heaven forbid that we really go there and we really start talking about
toxic,
that, because
absent, deceased,
all of it, and so, mothers are not these these perfect beings, perfect entities. They are flawed as anyone else, and there's damage done, like there's damage that fathers do and grandparents do, and to not be able to have that conversation, to not be able to discuss the impact of that, and sometimes the consequence and the impact of having that estranged, toxic relationship with mom is that, what, I need to opt out of parenting. And it may be for the better, it may be a better choice as to not generationally have a child where you are passing that trauma to that child, even not intentionally. But we understand how, trauma unfolds in our DNA in a way that we cannot even imagine. It is, as invisible as corona, but
Right.
the symptoms and the trauma and the damage is there. And we have to acknowledge that. And I think about, I just want to pay homage to, those women who have had to wrestle with that, and the outcome, not, the outcome is just a cherished decision to be child free.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And it's fine. It's a choice. And I also want to underscore here, as we're, we've explored so many aspects of this conversation. There's a personal aspect of, what's the child-free woman's opinion about this? Like, what is your real opinion? And I want to kind of pull back in, like, what's yours versus what's theirs? Yes, distinguish what's theirs and what's yours. Have you taken time to really clarify what's mine here? So yeah, this is theirs, guilt is theirs, the judgment is theirs. What is yours? What is the vision that you have for your life? What is the vision that you have for what the way that you want to be in the world? And by the way, it doesn't have to be some big, huge thing in your life. You don't have to be the next Oprah. You can be the next you. The next you that's emerging, the next possibility of yourself that's emerging. You don't have to be a thing that is determined by a definition of someone else's version of greatness. Right now, this is really about you. Be curious. What are those things? How are you determining for yourself what that is for you?
Exactly. And I think, as one of our other viewers, Harold T. Fisher of Howard University's radio station. Shout out to you, Harold. Thank you for tuning in. And he's highlighting a discussion about us talking about toxic mothers. I mean, again, another conversation that, and another day we'll have to do a video about this, but certainly they exist. Again, there are no perfect parents out here. Some parents have more challenges than others. Some parents are more equipped than others, so it's a multitude of reasons. And I think we have to grapple with all of these reasons why people choose to be child free, and the outcome of that. But, again, I'm thinking about these women on Mother's Day who could not wish their living mother a happy Mother's Day because it wasn't happy for them. And for us to not be able to wrestle with that, to not have a voice about that, to be quiet about that, is not serving us.
Yeah.
It's not serving us.
Yeah.
And so we have to undig these bones, unpack these issues, so that we don't carry them on into the next generation and the generation after that. We have to unpack this.
Yeah, whether it's your generation, your children, or someone else's children, because and this is why I emphasize, get professional help, get support on this stuff, because you will repeat whatever you lived in your young years. You will repeat it. If you don't get help, you will attract the person who does the thing that whichever parent did, and you will repeat that pattern, whether you choose to have children or not. get support so that you can unfurl and unpack all of those pieces, because you can't just do it by praying it away. You can't just do it by wishing it away. You can't affirm it away. You actually have to get there in there and do the work. The reason I can talk about this is because I have done my work. My work is ongoing. It never ends. As long as I am alive, I'm going to have some kind of personal development and growth work to do. It's not like you do it and you check it off. It's a constant, ever evolving, ever changing thing. So please, there's no shame in getting professional support. There's nothing wrong with you. Everyone has issues that need to be addressed. Everyone has problems. Everyone has experienced some kind of trauma that has come into their lives for whatever reason. Not talking about that. We are talking about what you're going to do going forward. So whether it's the child-free women that we're talking about and focused here, or even as you take a look at the relationships you're having, friendships you're having, you will repeat the patterns if you don't unpack it, if you don't see the components of it. So I encourage y'all to get yourself some support, some professional help, depending on the subject, whether it's sex for, myself and Frenchie, we're supporters for that, or other kinds of traumas, family stuff, abuse, whatever. Take the time to find the professionals that can help you. And you never know. There may be some opportunities for you. You don't know what resources are out there until you start looking. So check out what you get.
What's even more important is because as we come from this dense population of Black sex therapists, health educators, clinicians. There's this evolving pack of us as we come out into the world. And so now, there's this cultural competency that we get to be inclusive of in serving our community. And that's why this is so important. That's why I bring up the hard topics. I'm going to bring up the topics that we got to wrestle with, that make us a little uncomfortable with it, that make our skin crawl, or, we're so busy, like, as you said, living the secret life. The respectability politics are killing us. The secret livelihoods are killing us because we can't be our authentic selves. And we have to work to be our authentic selves every single day is something that we have to work through. Some days are easier than others. And some days we get our asses kicked. That's totally okay. But, we really want our audiences to know that we're here for you, that we're here to support you. And, if there's a topic that you're wrestling with and around this trauma that we all experience, the world is just full of it, let's unpack some of that, because we're just better as we are healing. We're just better healing. That's what makes us better and strong. So again, we could go on for days, but I want to conclude this journey. And if you have topics for us that you would like us to do a Facebook Live or Instagram Live on, you can send it to us. Tazima, please tell us where we can find you and your website and your coaching and you taking over the world. Please share that with our viewing audience.
Absolutely. So you can find my website at infiniterelating.com. My name, Tazima Paris, is my handle for Instagram. So Tazima Paris, 2 R's, Parris. And you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Tazima. So you let me know, send me a DM. If it takes me a little while, that's okay. I do look for them, but the DMs from people I don't know yet hide. So please be patient. But you can always check out my website, and there is a place where you can reach out and set up an initial chat if you want to get support.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And if you're looking for me, I'm on Facebook. I am on Instagram, Dis la vérité, which means speak the truth in French. So you can find me at Dis la vérité ici, speak the truth now, Dis la vérité at Gmail if you want to reach me directly. I thank you all for chiming in and spread the word. Let's remember to celebrate our child free individuals in the world. Okay. Thank you all. I'm Frenchie Davis signing off.
Thank you so much for having me.